Hey everyone, it's Cole from A+ Power Sports. I have two brand new 2025 9R XCR and a 9R Switchback Assault. We're going to do a comparison overview and kind of get you guys started with what we're looking at with each sled. And if you're new to the snowmobiling world, I hope this helps you pick out your next ride. The first sled I'm going to start with is the 9R XCR. This is a 9R XCR in a 136 package. So this is your average trail sled. Everyone loves the 136 package on them. And the XCR really is a cross-country race sled. So it's designed to be drove hard and fast, and it's just an extremely fun sled if you're an aggressive rider. So a lot of that comes from our Velocity 2.0 shocks on it. So the 2.0 stands for a 2-inch shock body on it. We have bigger shock rods, and we're able to hold a little bit more fluid in there so we don't get shock fade ever. This is a cross-country race edition, so we get a high and a low clicker. So each one does different modes on there and a little bit more difficult to fine-tune and adjust compared to the Assault, but once you do learn and figure out how it all works, you can really fine-tune and dial in your ride. The brake system on the XCR is beefed up compared to our other trail models. So compared to a VR1 or the Assault, the XCR has the biggest brake stopping power on all the stock lineup sleds. So Hayes is the manufacturer for them, a really name brand and known brake manufacturer for everything racing, but has been really proven in the XCRs and Polaris sleds over the past few years. Looking at our brake rotor, you can see all of our holes drilled in here for cooling capacity. Just doesn't let that brake get fade and have spongy brakes if we're riding really aggressive. Another thing you'll notice is the large diameter of the brake rotor itself. It's a lot larger in comparison to a trail sled, which we'll look at on the Assault. Also, a little bit bigger diameter on here just gives it that much more cooling capacity. The suspension on the XCR is built for a very aggressive rider. So all the way underneath the back of the track here, we're able to see our skid. You can see how the whole rail has very little relief cuts in it, and it's very strong, and they don't want you to be able to break the rail. So getting rid of the relief cuts make a huge difference. We have a rail support brace here. Our rear coupling support, you can see how it actually goes around the back, and they use aluminum blocks instead of plastic blocks. And there's also the brace in the middle. So this doesn't allow our sled to ever come down off of bumps and large jumps and have the possibility of breaking. When people are talking about tracks on their snowmobiles, they're always talking about the pitch and the pattern of that. So on all of our trail sleds from Polaris, you run a 2.86 pitch track. And on this one, you run a 2.52. So a lot tighter pitch on it. But what we're really looking at, what your advantage is with a tighter pitch, is you're getting a tighter lug pattern. So on a 2.86, your lugs would be about here, which means less lugs on the ground, less traction. And if you do stud the sled, less studs on the ground. So when we come to a 2.52 on the XCR, everything is a lot more compact and tighter, which you get a lot more lugs and a lot more studs on the ground to keep you through the corners and just get the whole shot. Let's take a look at the 2025 9R Assault. So the Assault package is really a crossover sled. So instead of a 136 track, as in the XCR, you get a 146 track. So quite a bit longer, and the coupling of the suspension is really the biggest difference. But we'll get to that in a minute. Still running the Walker Evans Velocity shocks on here, and these are also a 2.0 shock. So big reservoirs, tons of fluid in them so we don't have shock fade, but you reduce from a high-low clicker just to a standard clicker. So a little easier in my opinion to adjust, but not as much fine-tuning as the XCR has the capabilities. So the relief cuts help right there. You still have your rail support. Underneath the Assault suspension, it looks completely different compared to the XCR. So this is an IGX suspension and it's uncoupled. So what that means is we don't have the blocks in the back here for our torsion bar to actually come down and hit. So this really makes it a light and playful sled and allows you to really pull the front end up when you want to, and that makes it a big advantage when you're in deep snow and playing off trail. Also looking at our rail here, you can see that there's tons of relief cuts. They do that to save weight on this. You still have a rail brace, so we have tons of support in the middle, so we're not going to end up cracking a rail. But just underneath looks a lot different in an uncoupled suspension compared to the XCR and VR1 that are a coupled suspension in the rear. So those are our biggest differences between the 9R XCR and the 9R Assault. It's more to do with suspension than anything. At the heart of them, they still are a 9R Patriot engine. So you have a very lightweight and powerful engine with the 9R. It's been out for a couple years now, so it's proven itself. but 900 cc's up top, 650 crankshaft on the bottom, so it can rev up extremely quick and give you that corner-to-corner acceleration that everyone's looking for on the trails. What the XCR is really built for, and the consumer that's going to be looking into the XCR chassis, is someone that's a very aggressive and fast trail rider. This is a all-out, it's a race sled, it's a cross-country race sled. So bigger shocks, bigger suspension underneath the back of it, and being coupled, it really wants to keep the nose on the ground and easy to turn through the corners, and it's going to act like it's on rails. Looking at the Assault in the 9R option, the Assault is really a playful sled. So it's that crossover sled, so if you want to play on trail half the day and then go play off trail, that's where the Assault comes in. So the 146 track, uncoupled suspension, makes it really great for off trail, and it does have great handling capabilities on trail as well. So coming with the Matrix chassis, front ends are very similar to each other, and they handle amazing through the trails. So you got to see the different options that are different on the XCR versus the Assault, but what options are the same? So they're still both on the Matrix platform, so we're both going to get Nightblade headlights, LED headlights on them, extremely bright at night. 7S Ride Command display comes on both sleds standard this year, so that's a really nice feature, and I have another YouTube video if you want to learn more about Ride Command. Definitely look into that. Handlebar risers are pretty much equal on both sleds. The Assault is a little bit taller of a bar riser, and you're still going to come with the Matrix platform where you sit. So rider forward, you're moved forward quite a bit on these sleds, and it allows you to really maneuver and handle the sleds through all types of terrain. That's a look at the 2025 XCR and 9R Assault, and it kind of gives you guys a comparison and what each sled is designed for and who the rider should be that's buying them. If you guys like this video, hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to see what I have in stock and you're in the market for a new sled, check out aplusride.com. If you have questions on either of these models, leave a comment in the section below. And as always, thanks for watching.